Hey there, Drady here. Today's video is all about candle terminology.
Hey everybody, so in this video we're going to be talking about some of the candle terms that Katie and I had to learn before getting into candle making. When we first started candle making, we were hearing words like melt pool, fragrance load, hot throw, cold throw, flash point. And at the beginning we were like, we should probably learn what these mean. So we were scouring through YouTube, some Google articles, trying to put all the pieces together. So what we thought was that we would make this video with mostly all the terminology that you would need when you're getting into candle making. So we're gonna jump right into it. We hope that this video is helpful. So the first one we're gonna do is fragrance load. You wanna talk about this one, huh?
So the fragrance load is basically the amount of fragrance that you're putting into your candle. So most candles could have an 8 to 12%
Yeah, 8 to
fragrance
12.
load.
I've even seen 15% fragrance load in some waxes.
Yeah, some wax. But again, it all depends on your wax, like how much fragrance load the wax can hold. So it's just the amount of fragrance that you put in your candle.
So with our candles, it kind of varies. So like with our vanillas, I guess with vanillas, some caramels, more of like the subtle fragrances, we boost up the load to about 15%. Some that are stronger, like some of the fruitier ones, like if you're working with Jamaican Me Crazy or mango papaya, some of those you could do it a little bit lower, like maybe 8%, just so that when you're burning the candle, the fragrance release is, you can actually smell it, is what I'm trying to say.
But it's not overpowering either. So, because you don't want it to be too strong and too
There's definitely
fruity.
been some houses that I've walked into that the candle was way too strong.
Way too strong.
And you leave there with a headache and that's no bueno.
So the next one is scent throw.
Scent throw, yeah. So scent throw is kind of like what we talked about, the fragrance release that the candle's making. And there's two different types of scent throws that you have to pay attention to. The first one is cold throw. So that is, the candle is not lit, right? So the cold throw would be when the smell that you get, or the fragrance release that the candle is giving when it is not lit. So this candle right here is not lit, and I could still smell what the candle was made from. So that is the cold throw.
And then the other one is hot throw, which is basically when the candle is lit. The scent throw, or the fragrance release when the candle is lit.
Yeah, pretty simple.
Yeah.
You don't have to overthink it. It's straight to the point. Then the next one we'll jump into is sinkhole. Now, a sinkhole is a cavity that appears on your candle that is settled. That is, it's like kind of like I guess it is what it sounds like. It's a hole that's in the wax that just goes straight down, right?
Yeah, this typically tends to happen on soy waxes. So as the candle is starting to set up and starting to harden, all of a sudden so your top will be liquid, and then as it's setting up and hardening, a little hole will appear in the top, and it's like a little crater. And they're not terrible. It's just an air bubble that got in there as you were mixing the wax. They're not terrible. They're just not aesthetically pleasing, because obviously you want a candle with a smooth top.
Right.
But yeah.
You can always fix sinkholes too with a heat gun. Just hit it with a heat gun for a little bit, let the wax melt, and then go into the sinkhole and fill it. So a sinkhole is like what it sounds like. It's just a hole in the middle of the wax, and she nailed it right on the dot when she said it happens a lot with soy wax. Soy wax is a pain in the butt to deal with. I don't know why, but it's just a pain in the butt. This can happen when the sinkholes happen when you're pouring the wax into the candle from the pouring pitcher, or however you're pouring it. When you pour the wax at too cool of a temperature. So as you can imagine in your mind, you're pouring something that is solidifying as you pour it. So if you're dropping it into the container, it's solidifying, and it's not distributing the wax throughout the candle evenly. So that, if you can imagine, if it's just solidifying and then leave an air pocket and then solidifying over that air pocket, that's more susceptible to causing sinkholes. So the next term that we're going to talk about is melting pool. So when you have a candle and you burn it, how you know you have a great candle is if there's a pool of liquid wax on the surface reaching from one end to the candle to the other end. This is how you know that your candle is burning evenly, because that's the goal of candle making. You don't want just a pool of wax to be on one side of the candle's surface and have the other half dry. You want the candle to burn evenly all the way down to the bottom.
So next one that's pretty important is mushrooming. So it's after your wick is lit, after you burn it. Sometimes you get little clusters of soot on the top of your wick that looks like a mushroom. And it's just basically the leftover soot and like carbon buildup on top of your wick after it's lit. You don't want to light your candle if it's mushrooming like that, because then the soot like breaks and pops and then it releases more soot into the air, which isn't good either. So that's why it's always important to trim your wick.
Yeah. Flash point. So the flash point of candle fragrance is the oil temperature at which it becomes combustible if it's exposed to a spark or a flame. When it comes to candle making, you really don't have to worry about the flash point, because you're never you're not, it's like, have you seen those videos where somebody's spraying hairspray and then they light a fire and then it's like a flamethrower? You're not going to do that with fragrance oil. You're just going to pour it into a candle. But whatever, if you have a fragrance bottle nearby or whatever, you'll see that on the fragrance bottle it says flash point 180 degrees. That has nothing to do with your candle making process. So you don't have to even pay attention to that, unless for some odd reason you're a maniac and you're going to light it on fire. Only an idiot would do that, right?
Don't do that.
So flash point just means the temperature at which the fragrance will combust. Next one is candle curing.
So curing is, you just let it sit for a day or two so the fragrance can fully develop into the wax, and it always produces a better smell the longer you let it cure, but it's most commonly to do like 24 hours or 48 hours.
Yeah. I think anything over 5 days would be overkill.
That's kind of...
You're just waiting too long.
That's kind of a lot to light a candle.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine for like shelf, like if you have your candles in a store, they could stay there as long as possible, right?
Yeah.
Unless like they start melting because the room temperature is off, or they start frosting because the room temperature is weird or too cold. But yeah, curing. If somebody gets an order for one of your candles, and you're worried about curing, like it's 24 hours.
At least 24 hours.
Yeah,
so the point is, you don't want to make a candle and then sell it that same day.
Right, that's another point.
The candle won't be fully set up.
Right.
So then when they go to light it, the fragrance won't be as strong as it should be, and you could just have some wax issues. So you always want it to at least just cure and just sit there for at least 24 hours.
At least. Cool. So we've been getting a lot of questions on our YouTube channel and from like some of our friends and some of our customers. So we thought we would highlight some of those in this video. We're going to jump over to, can you cool a candle in the refrigerator? You want to take this one, or you want me to take it?
I can start it, then you can finish it.
Yeah.
The answer is no. Because
if you place a candle in the fridge to cool, it may not adhere to the glass properly. So if you let's say you just pour a candle and you're like, hurry up, I want you to solidify already, and you stick it in the fridge, it's less likely for it to bind to the side of the jar, which in the future can create wet spots, which if you have a clear jar you don't want, because you could see the wet spots and it just makes it aesthetically unpleasing. You don't want that. Also, you're more susceptible to having sinkholes, craters, and just large cavities within your candle because it cooled too fast. It just needs to do it naturally. It needs a bind super slowly so that the fragrance and the wax comes together and creates a symbiotic relationship.
So the next question we got is, what is frosting? And so frosting typically happens when you use soy wax, and it's basically kind of what it sounds like. It's this white stuff that forms on the top of your wax that looks like it's frosted.
Yeah.
Basically. So it's mainly just not aesthetically pleasing.
Right.
It's just as a common thing to happen with soy wax, but you can fix it really simply. Just get a heat gun and kind of do it on the low setting, remelt the top of it.
And call it good.
Fix it, call it good.
So the next thing that we're going to touch on is candle soot or smoke, or the black stuff that seems to be created at the top of your candle after you burn it for a long period of time. Every candle produces soot. I wouldn't get discouraged if yours produces soot. I would advise you to watch the amount of soot that your candle is releasing. Because if it's like, this is okay. Like, this candle has been burning for what, 15, 20 hours?
It's been burning a long time.
You're going to produce a little bit of soot and smoke. So don't get alarmed. Don't try to reformulate your entire recipe. Just try to minimize it. Make sure it's not out of control, and make sure that if it is out of control, that you don't, I think we've talked about this in previous videos, don't have it like under a cabinet or like a shelf or against the wall, because the soot that is getting on the top of your jar will jump onto the wall or onto the shelf or onto the cabinet, and you'll just be pissed off.
Yeah, but if it's producing too much soot, that probably could be your wicks might be too big. Like if the whole inside of your candle, if that is all black and as you're lighting it, your flame is huge and you see all this soot, then your wick is probably too big. That's the stuff you want to watch out for. But it's really easy. I mean, you can just clean it with a little like alcohol pad or paper towel. It's really easy to wipe off.
Get a little cotton ball. Pour a little bit of alcohol in there.
Yeah. And just clean
it
inside.
off a little bit.
Yeah.
Dry it off and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simple. There you have it, guys. We hope that this video helps. We hope this terminology sticks in your brain. Give this video a like if you found it useful to your candle making journey. Comment below if we missed anything or if you would like us to talk about anything in the future. We love you so much. Don't forget to follow us on social media right here. Follow us, give us a follow, check out what we're doing. We also have a Facebook group that is centered around candle making. So a bunch of Katie, myself, and a bunch of other candle makers are part of this group, and we talk about different things, different strategies, how we make candles, what kind of wicks we use. If you want to join that, I'll put it in the description box below. Anything else you want to know?
No, I think that's
all right. We love you so much. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.